Leo's Legion, final regular season game has been played. 21 weeks are in the books. Yours, mine, and our BC Lions had a bye this week. Did we need it? I think we did. Get some game planning, get some game rest, and get ready for the Western semifinal. What do we need to do to win? Let's find out with the bros now. Leo's Legion, 3 Down Bros, Arthur, Roland, Greg here in the house with you guys. 1 week or less actually leading up to the Western semifinal. I'm hoping for a replay of last year, but there's some differences. Speaking of differences, what do the Lions need to do different than they did in the past 2 home games, which were embarrassing, heartbreaking, and if I can borrow Arthur's term of the year, soul sucking. So we're going to go over what we here in the 3 Down Bro world think the Lions need to do to win, what we think are 3 key important factors, whatever it is, keys to victory. So I'm going to throw it to Arthur. What do you think is your main key to victory for this Leo's team?
For me, the biggest key to victory is you got to stop the Calgary run. That's it. You got to stop that rushing attack. Make Brad Mayer beat you in the air. The Lions have to stop the run. If they can't stop the run, game's over. Right away. Simple as that. Responses, Roland. You get first crack at this.
First crack at your key. Okay, so I won't talk about my key yet. I'll just respond. I totally agree. We were pretty good in the beginning of the year in stopping the run. But over the last maybe third of the season, last third, maybe a bit more, we, for whatever reason, we got away with it. Got away from it, and teams started taking advantage of it. They took advantage of us not being able to stop the run. So I completely agree. If we don't stop the run, they're just going to keep forcing it down our throats. Maybe because teams started realizing that our D-line was a bit smaller maybe than the other teams, and they started taking advantage of this kind of double-edged sword, right? It's a strength in that we're fast and we can get to the quarterback, but the weakness is that we get pushed around more. And so other teams have protected their quarterbacks and reduced our sacks by basically running it down our throats. We don't have time to get to the quarterback if the ball's being run down our throats. So they figured us out in the year, and we need to adjust. So completely agree. Greg, your thoughts?
What say you?
What say I? I think you are 1,000% correct, Arthur, because our D-line is smaller, because our D-line is quicker, they have an endurance thing that the run game will absolutely destroy. The longer we keep Calgary's run game on the field, our D-line and the secondary, they're going to get worn down real quick. And if for some reason the offense goes 2 and out or sputters like it has been, and the D's got to come back in like after a short 2 and out, they're not going to have much gas left in the tank come the second quarter. And again, we don't know what happened last week in that final home game against Calgary, but man, Calgary ran at will, and they're probably coming in thinking, well, part of them's probably thinking the Lions didn't try that hard, but the other part of them's thinking, we ran on them once, we're going to run on them again. And it is absolutely vital they stop that run game. I don't know, what they have to do, we'll get into that, but no, I agree. They got to stop that run game to keep the D fresh.
Yeah. So Rick Campbell mentioned today in the presser about the team playing complementary football. It's not just on the defense to stop the run. He wants all 12 members of the defense to stop the run.
Yeah.
If they're stacking the box, we have to get in the box as well. But complementary football means offense is firing, keeping the defense a bit fresher.
Yeah.
Special teams does its work. And they haven't been playing as well in the last, I would say, half of the year in terms of complementary football.
Yeah.
They've won some close games because they do have a talent advantage.
Yeah.
And then they have made some great plays, in key moments to win some games. Some of them are ugly wins. But now we're in the playoffs now. I was saying it's a 9-team league, 6 team makes the playoffs, but now it's go time, right? I talked about we need the calls in the playoffs. Well, starts Saturday. We need those calls.
Yeah.
But complementary football. So what does that look like, guys? Apart from being committed and being intense, what else do the Lions have to do to stop this run?
Yeah.
What do you think, Ro?
Complementary football. It's kind of on the one hand obvious, right? Like if our offense is marching down the field and we're not giving up possession of the ball, then our defense is not on the field, right? So definitely our offense needs to click. Like we can't have a string of 2 and outs. We gotta have. I'm even gonna say this. We gotta score on our first drive.
Mm-hmm.
First drive, we gotta go march it all the way down and get a touchdown on our first drive. We've been able to do that earlier in the year. So you set the tone. The offense sets the tone. So that's the complementary side, I think, on the offense, right? The offense setting the tone, mm-hmm. and then the defense supporting that and taking the ball, getting the ball back quickly, so that our offense can continue scoring. On the defense side, I guess I'm answering, but I'm also throwing out a question. What do we need to do to stop the run on the defense side? You mentioned if they stack the box, we need to stack the box too. But
mm-hmm.
what else? Like if our D-line is underweight comparatively to other teams, what do we need to do? Is it just a matter of putting in more effort, or is there something else we can do?
I think what they've been doing is they've been moving Mojay as kind of another linebacker.
So actually having 4.
He's a little they have another, like they would put Green as safety, and then Rugamba is probably more of someone who can more like a nickel back or a 5th defensive back or 6th defensive back that can go in coverage. But I think Mojay may be better, a little bit more stiffer against the run. So they've been moving him into the box, whether as a linebacker or as a safety or whatever. The thing is, Calgary's gonna look for that, right? And all of a sudden, if your safety is in the box, then you got man on man. So, okay, how does it look? We know if Calgary's gonna run, how would I construct the defense? Well, if I bring Mojay into the box as my safety, like he's a safety, I bring him in the box, and I have 3 linebackers, I have Mojay in the box, so we have effectively 8 guys in the box. Then it's tough to do a zone defense unless you're doing a zone blitz and you're dropping other linebackers, right?
Yeah.
So it's really tough. You might go man, but typically to stop the run, you want like a zone defense, because everyone's looking into the backfield. Everyone's looking at the quarterback or seeing what's happening. And if it's a run play, they can rally to the ball. If it's man defense, then they're turning their back and going with the receiver. Yeah. They don't know what's going on in the backfield, unless it's like right away, right? It happens like there's a handoff right away and someone calls it. So it's tough. If you want to do a zone, then you're leaving a lot of things wide open.
Yeah.
It's been this bend don't break. Greg's favorite defense. I'm just kidding. It's this bend don't break, right? If you want to be aggressive, then you go man coverage, right? And you blitz. You can do run stopping blitzes. You cover the gaps and you go in. But if they pick it up, and then they have like checkdowns, which Calgary always has checkdowns, or someone's beat man to man. Yeah, and if someone is getting beat man to man, we're in trouble.
Yeah,
and don't forget, 2 weeks ago, there was 2 drop balls on deep balls.
Yes.
And Calgary receivers were open. They should have made those catches. Yeah. So you saw them going deep. And usually Calgary doesn't go deep. They usually do these very short passing plays, high percentage.
Yeah.
So they stretch themselves. Of course, Calgary would be it'd be unwise for them to go against the run, but that's what they did the last Western semifinal. Is they just tried to pass their way to victory, and they got taken out. But, so, and then they remember last year they did a lot of these third down gambles. They could have kicked field goals, but they did third down gambles. They did a lot of passing, and we're like, why aren't you running?
Yeah.
So I'm wondering what happens this year. Will Dickinson out-coach himself?
Again?
I mean, I can't see it happening again, but you never know.
Yeah.
Like maybe everyone's thinking they're going to run on BC. But maybe they're going to throw like a curveball and they're going to start passing. So,
yeah.
I mean, Lions just has to be, I think Lions are okay, but if you commit to the run and you bring your 6th offensive lineman in and you are running these running heavy packages against the Lions defense, you're getting 5, 6, 7 yards on first down. It's gonna be long. It's gonna be a long afternoon for the Lions. So
if Rugamba comes into the box to help stop the run, and you're saying we have 2 options with the remaining DBs, right? They could either go man-to-man or zone. Man-to-man would be better to cover, these checkdowns. But then, zone would be better to cover against the checkdowns. But then, because they're looking at the quarterback, you said, right?
Yeah.
But then if they throw deep, then it's a risk, right? I might be willing to take that risk, given Mayer's track record this year for long passes hasn't been that good, right? He's connected, but he's also had quite a few drop balls. So if we, because as with anything, if we strengthen something, we're going to have to take away from something else, right? Everything is a give and
100%.
take.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. So maybe that's not a bad trade-off, right? Of course, we're going to have to adjust, right? Like if we did that and they like you said, give up the run and start passing, then of course we don't stack the box anymore. So we need to be able to see and adjust. But yeah, but I'll take those odds,
Yeah. What I think for the run stopping, I think they need to borrow as many pages out of that Edmonton game when they were able to shut down Trey Ford before anybody else. More than anybody else, and Kevin Brown. They did the perfect game plan, whatever Ryan Phillips drew up there. Because at least we know Mayer, he may be at best elusive, but he's not going to beat us with his legs. But if we can somehow get into his head like we've done every game except that last week's game, or last 2 weeks ago, like Roland says, I like our chances. And I think, like Arthur said, stay in that zone, and we've got to rally to the ball. We cannot wait for the running back to get to us. We have to get to that running back first. 2 guys in, third, fourth guys doing whatever they can to create a turnover. But 2 guys have to be at him at the point of attack. It's absolutely crucial. But yeah, I like what you both guys have both said. I think a zone defense, I'm going to have to do a 180 here, Arthur. The bend don't break might be the best way to cover both bases.
I can't believe this. I can't believe I'm hearing this.
Well, you might hear something later on in the night, but yeah, no, I've got to go.
Oh no.
I've got to go.
We can get back to the run defense. I guess we'll I mean, again, this is all complementary football, right?
Yeah.
The Lions get ahead by 3 scores. Calgary's not going to run.
Then you stop the run.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Now, you talked about the defense against Edmonton. The main thing that stuck out in my mind there was that Betts was sprung free. He was basically given carte blanche, right?
Yeah.
Go for the quarterback. Don't worry about containing the outside. Someone else will take care of it. If we did that against Calgary, will they be able to adjust to that?
Well, I actually like what you say, Roland, because if he's given carte blanche to run free, that's one way to disrupt that running game. Just get a guy in the back and mess up. Just give him that split second. They got to think about it because now there's someone there. He may make the tackle for a loss. He may not, but at least he might disrupt something. Disrupt the timing, disrupt the route, disrupt something, and force him into where the reinforcements are that are rallying to the ball.
Yeah.
I like that, definitely. Dropping Betts into pass coverage, an absolute waste. They used to do that when a certain number 44 was roaming our
Yes.
linebacking thing, like drop him into pass coverage. Not his forte. He's gotten better at it now, but use them for what their strengths are. Like you guys have both said, we have superior talent in areas. We got to use that talent to its utmost. And I think in letting Betts run free to do what he does best, and I think that is one key to stopping that run game.
Yeah, getting Mayer off his rhythm, right? I like that too. But we just need to make sure we got the contained covered there.
Mm-hmm.
So someone behind him needs to
complement his running carte blanche, complement like a contained spy, so to speak.
Yeah.
Well, that's Arthur's key is containing the run game. We've got a little bit of, we haven't done really any schemes. We've got some suggestions on what they need to do. What do you guys think about doing a better job of adjusting on the fly? Like if whatever scheme they've got is not stopping the run, can Ryan Phillips adjust on the fly at game speed so we don't fall too far behind and get run over?
Well, we need to. The question is not can he. The question is, will he? Because we have to. It's absolutely mandatory. There's no way that we can go into the game with one game plan and then just stick to it through the whole game. So that's absolutely mandatory.
Yeah, I mean that's what they have to do. I mean, Calgary, other teams have adjusted to the Lions. They're not as dominant as the first third of the season. So their offense has not looked as proficient, and their defense has lost some of their swagger, some of their. I think they're tackling, they're rallying to the ball. I think it's a bit of a decrease. I don't know why it is. It might be scheme, might be injuries, might be better opponents. Could be all of the above. But these adjustments.
Just going to add to that list. I think they're not having as much fun. At the beginning of the year, the defense had that swagger,
just flying around,
because the word was out that they were the best defense in the league, right? And so that played into their psyche. They're no longer the best defense in the league, and so they're not having as much fun.
Well, I think that after you lose to Toronto, they beat you deep, and then you lose to a couple of third-string quarterbacks beating you deep.
Yeah.
It takes the sting out of it, because they used to go to a man defense, and if they can go man on man, they're very aggressive. They can blitz. If you go man on man and you cover them, that means you can blitz the quarterback.
And those faster linemen can get there. Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But if you cannot cover man to man, then you have to go zone, and you have to commit more people into coverage. Then you cannot blitz as much or as frequent.
Yeah.
Or as strong. Like you can rush 6 or rush go crazy 7, right? So you have to, if you're concerned about your back end, you have to protect it, and you have to drop people into coverage. So I think they lost some swagger. I honestly think they got punched in the face a bit over that middle part of the season. No, I think they righted the ship a bit. They changed the schemes to protect their back, like to protect the big play. But at the expense, remember we were like impressed how a 4-yard dump, like a 4-yard check down, and they're right on there and they stop them.
Yeah. Play into the line like TJ.
Not as much lately. You know, it's like a 4-yard pass. The other receiver catches it, and then they were stretching it almost to a first down. Sometimes they get it. You know, we're seeing that a little bit more frequently.
Yeah.
And it's a little concerning. But I can understand, like, they're trying to protect their weakness.
It's like that boxer that took the heavy body shot, has that rib injury now. Now they got to protect it. They've lost something.
They lost something.
Yeah. But yeah, that was, you know, because we noticed that to a man to each of us when we were at those games, when the Lions threw a 4-down pass to one of our receivers, these playmakers, the DBs on the other team, I don't care who that team was, they're there. 1, 2, 3 guys. And we weren't doing that.
That last game against Calgary, they were teeing off on our receiver. It wasn't even like they were like headhunting our receivers.
Yeah. And it wasn't like they dove in aggressively and missed. They were calculated headhunts, and they connected. Yeah, so I mean, when we talk about further down the line, other keys to victory, that's going to come into play in mine. But back to stopping the run, I think they've got to be, shall we use that term, controlled aggression. They got to play to that line. They got to rally to the football. But at the same time, and I don't know how easy this is going to be, like you said, protect that back end. Mayer, I mean, okay, last year his deep balls were terrible in the Western Final. But that game that they played a couple weeks ago, those deep balls were on the money. And maybe because he had some reps in the game prior leading up, the comeback against Saskatchewan, he's got a little bit of confidence, but we've got to get under his skin. I don't know, hit him as soon as the ball's gone, but again, controlled aggression, because we cannot take the penalties we took 2 weeks ago either.
100%. I mean, you got to get pressure on the quarterback. I don't think you know, we just got enough pressure on the quarterback, and you know, and that I think that's the biggest thing, right? We got to our pass rushes has to be a bit better.
Yeah.
Whether they have to blitz more, but then you blitz more, and then guess what happens, right? So it's like pros and cons to every scheme, right?
Well, we've got to get the pressure with 4 men.
Yeah, if we spring Betts, then he's going to be scrambling every other play, right?
Yeah.
So we don't need to blitz, right? As long as Betts is sprung free, he can get him scrambling.
Yeah, no sacks, just disruption. Disruption is just as effective, and we got to do it with 4 guys. Like you know, and then that way we're not committing some guy into a blitz that gets picked up, and then we're down 1 man in coverage somewhere.
Yeah.
So
next
I'm going to throw. Sorry, that.
Next key to victory.
Yeah. So I'm going to throw that out there for those of you out there in Leo's Legion. That is Arthur's key to victory, is stopping the run. If you agree, disagree, or have some input, please like, subscribe, and let us know, because we need the fans in that place, and we want to hear your opinions as well. So Roland, that's Arthur's stop the run. I'm going to toss it over to you. So Arthur's is a defensive key.
Yeah.
How about yours, sir?
So I guess I'll go the complimentary one. We need to come out strong and score early and come out ahead, because that's complementary to what we just talked about. We were able to do that very well at the beginning of the season, but we kind of strayed away from that again too, right? And so that's why I mentioned earlier, key first drive, we need to score a touchdown, and that one should be, you know, we can plan out all the plays now, even before the game, right? First drive, you can plan out all the plays, and I think all the players need to be keyed on it. So the coaches need to come up with those plays. The players need to be running that through their heads, so that come game day, they can execute on that first drive. You know, get a touchdown early. That'll do a number of things, right? It'll give them that good confidence, both on the offense and the defense, and it'll establish momentum. And then we can't let up after that.
It'll get the crowd into it too.
Yeah, gets the crowd into it. Vern needs to take what the defense is giving us. He can't force the long bombs, because if he forces it, even if it's not an interception, but it's a drop, it puts us in second and long. Yeah. And second and long is tough, to maintain a drive, right? So he should only go long when it's, you know, it's clear, right? You know, he's no longer going after the 5,000 yards, so maybe he's got a fresh slate. You know, everything is blank, and maybe that'll be good. So that's my key. Come out strong, score ahead, score early, and get ahead.
Arthur?
Yeah, I mean, we have to. I mean, the Lions get momentum from like dominating on defense and having like a kick-ass offense and scoring, because they have a lot of their money spent on their offense.
Yeah.
You know, so they have to. And it's surrounding their passing offense too, right? So they have a lot of their money invested in the passing offense, so they have to execute.
Yeah.
They have to dominate on offense. And if their offense is not operating well, we're not talking about excellence, at least well, then the team kind of sags.
Yeah.
The defense will try to hold up. But it's hard. It eventually they're gonna break, right? Because they're like we mentioned, it's a smaller defense. It's fast. It's more finesse defense, attacking defense. But if they're on their back foot, if there's heavy packages against them and they're just weighing down on them, it's not. They're not the defense for that kind of offense, right?
Yep.
Like a heavy package.
Kind of like playing against a heavy hockey team.
Yes, they're a fast skilled team. I mean, they can rise to the occasion at times, right? Like if it's a series or two, they can rise to the occasion.
Yeah.
But if it's the whole game, and if the other team's going to commit to the whole game to do that, then they need to be on the field, off the field quick, so they can recover, and the offense needs to do its job.
Yeah.
So to have all those plays in their minds, I'm going to go back to what Roland said after our Calgary debacle. The message from the coaches needs to be crystal clear. We attended a practice this year, and it was great to be around the guys, but that fun has got to be gone from the. Yeah, I mean, I get it. It's all about having fun. But the focus level and the intensity level, it's got to be another 2 or 3 notches now.
Yeah.
They got to come in with the absolute steadfast, ironclad belief that they're scoring on that first drive, no matter what.
Yes.
They are not going to be denied. The last thing I want to do is see Vernon, like you said, Arthur, take with the defense. He drops back, and Roland, you said too, he uncorks a long one because Rhymes is open. But Vernon's just off the mark. Now you're in 2nd and 10 against a defense that owned your offensive line 2 weeks ago. So yeah, they've got to come out, have the exact plays in mind, ready to go into what we call that phase. It's got to be second nature.
Yeah.
And I think too, you're right. I think maybe if they come out with pace, like no huddle, just come out, boom, 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 boom.
That worked really well for us in the year. Yeah.
Yeah, and that might go into tiring Calgary's heavier offensive lineup, because they're not going to be able to get guys off and on the field if we're going pace. And if we're getting 3, 4, 5 yards per down at pace, that could work into our favor.
Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely. Again, I can't disagree with you. Your key to victory either is they got to come in intense, focused, and just high energy, and get the game off on the right foot. Get the crowd into it, get the entire team into it, because that's complementary. Offense does well, okay, now the defense is keyed up. Special teams is keyed up, because, okay, you scored on that first drive, we kick off, special teams going to fly down there and hopefully tee off on the Calgary kick returner. That's going to fire up the O&D. Now D's going to come out, they're fired up because they want to just keep that same level of intensity.
Yeah.
So how do we scheme? Well, okay, that's your thing. The scheming for that is just have plays already ready to go and go pace.
And
take what the defense gives them.
Yeah, and
they need high execution, right?
Yeah.
High degree. I mean, they have to execute.
And one thing that worries me the most, though, is we got to have a running game. In order for this to really work, you got to have a running game. And what worries me is that Mizell is back taking first reps. Right? I don't know if he's the right player at this stage of the season. So that worries me, because if we want to establish sustained drives, but we're doing it all in the air, it's going to be tough, because Calgary's just going to start, covering for passes. They're not even going to cover for runs, right? And then that takes away our passes. We got to keep them honest. So part of having sustained drives, yes, if we maybe we can get the first drive with a touchdown, because we've executed exactly how we planned. But then we can't pre-plan all of our drives for the rest of the game, right? And that's where a balanced offense needs to come in.
Yeah. Well, if Mizell would just do one cut, no spin, and hit the hole, I honestly think we stand a better chance versus him. Oh, there's the A gap. I'm going to stutter step for about 2.5 seconds. A gap's gone, B gap's gone, and now the C gap contain is now closing in on you. You might get a yard, you might get nothing, you might get a loss. I don't know, but he's got to make a better decision and hit it. Like, just okay. If that's the A gap, he's fast enough. If he can get there before the offensive line collapses, that he's just got to run more decisive. I mean, we saw it with Hardy. Yeah. Maybe one cut, and he was going north and south as fast as possible.
Yeah. I don't know if Mizell can make that change. Like, it's a mental change, right? So that's what worries me. So yeah.
Okay, so the Roland's key to victory, and backed up by opinion here, is execution and focus. I got that right?
Yeah, execution. I guess my key to victory has a weakness in it.
Sustained drives, right?
Yes, sustained drives, but that involves having, being able to establish a bit of a running game. It doesn't have to be a dominant running game, as long as there's a running game, so that it keeps their defense honest, right?
All right. Arthur, anything else to add to support that key?
I think that's good.
All right, then I'm going to throw my key out here, and I had two, so I'm going to throw 1.5 out there, because I think one of them is pretty much what you touched on, Roland. Is sustained drives. It's the offense, but my key is the short passing game. If they can do the old Vic Rapp method of football, pass to set up the run.
Yeah.
If Vernon can play within that controlled dink and dunk offense, which big play VA, we cannot have that guy come back creeping into this game. It's got to be smart play VA.
Yeah.
Lead the way VA. Win the day VA. He has said it over and over. He's got playmakers. He's got to get the ball to the man. You know what I mean? Yes. Got to get the ball to the man. And I'm doing a bad Vernon Adams impression. But he says, got to get the ball into the hands of my playmakers. Well, Vernon, I am saying get the ball into their hands sooner. We have seen lately the offensive line play has gone down a little bit. What are we saying he's got? Maybe, Arthur, 3 seconds? Maybe 4? To make how many reads?
Yeah.
And so instead of waiting for Mr. Head Topper to go 14 yards, Keon Hatcher to go whatever, get those guys all doing short to intermediate routes. Get the 5-yard pass into their hands, and maybe they can get 2 or 3 yards after that. Or a 3-yard pass, get 4 or 5 yards after that. But back that Calgary pressure up. You don't have the run game maybe to keep it honest, but then we scheme around it with a shorter passing game. Yes. Or compensate for the weakness with a shorter passing game, because then maybe they'll back up to cover. Then you can run underneath. Vic Rapp had great success back in the late 70s, early 80s. I'm saying we got to ditch the old big play stuff and go sustained to go with Roland.
Yeah.
But in order to do that is my other key to the game. But what do you guys think? We're going to go with that for now, because I'm going to have to, I'll sneak something else in there after.
Yeah.
Short passing game.
Okay, I'll go first.
Yeah.
All right, Greg. Short passing game. So if you want to start a short passing game, you might get a bit of that in the first series, right? Like Calgary's trying to figure out what you're trying to do. Eventually, you're going to do like 3 or 4 passes in a row, short passing game. All right, and then you might score a touchdown, you might kick a field goal or whatever, right? Then they come on defense again. What are they going to do? You tell me. You're a defensive coach. You're going to shut down the short passing game.
Yep.
So, what are you going to do to open up the short passing game? You tell me. You know what it is. The answer is you got to have a deep passing game, or you're going to attack the ends or the wide. You're going to do pitches to attack outside the tackles on a run. You got to do those kind of plays. So, okay, to go deep, you need time.
Which was
bottom line.
Yep.
Okay, yeah. Bottom line is, can the O-line protect Vernon Adams for more than 3.5 seconds?
What are we saying? He needs maybe 4 to 4.5, 5 for the.
Okay, well, I mean, for a short passing game, you need 2 or 3 seconds, right? If he can go through maybe 2 reads, right?
And like Roland said, start with read 3 and 4.
I mean, what does that really mean? So, okay, you don't. If you're assuming reads 1 and 2 is always Hatcher and Rhymes, then you go to 3 and 4. But 3, it all depends on that play what 3 and 4 are, right? I mean, we don't know all the plays, right? 3 and 4 could be deep patterns. 3 or 4 can be checkdowns. We don't know. I understand. Go against your primary, but you're calling plays because you're thinking the defense is going to do a certain thing, right? So you're in my opinion, you're out coaching yourself if you say most likely on first down they're going to run this defense, so therefore I'm going to have these packages. And your first two reads should be, in your opinion, your game plan, the plays that will have a better chance of success. If you automatically go to 3 and 4 because you're not getting some mojo, or you're not getting some rhythm, you are in effect overcoaching yourself, because you have to trust that whatever defense Calgary is running, that your plays are designed to beat that. Yeah. So you're telling me for a certain, if they're doing cover 2 man, you're going to go automatically to your 3rd and 4th best option. Yeah. And you're saying we should go to the 3rd or 4th read.
And I want to that. Come on, man, you got to watch the camera. But yes.
No,
but I didn't see that.
Let me refine. So what you say is absolutely right, Arthur. But maybe let me refine on that. What I like about what Greg said is, the short passes being high percentage plays, right? Quick high percentage plays. So to establish some sort of rhythm, to establish some sort of momentum, right? So how I would refine that is, we would have a number of routes that are short, high percentage routes, but always have a guy deep, right? So always have a guy deep, short, high percentage routes, and for a lot of the plays, we're going to be targeting these short, high percentage routes. But then if we see that the deep guys open because they're starting to key on these short percentage routes, then we burn them deep, right? So I think the idea around the 3rd and 4th reads is not literally the 3rd and 4th reads. I think the idea there was that if they're blitzing and Adams sees the blitz, don't wait for the play to develop. Go to your check downs right away. Because,
go to your check down. Go to your check down. I agree. And your check down might be the 3rd or 4th pattern, but go to your check down. I wouldn't go to the 3rd or 4th best option.
Check down. Yes.
Yeah, go to your check down.
Legs. What do you think?
You go to your hot receiver, who's designed, like if there's a blitz, you're the hot guy or your check down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because he needs to recognize that we've seen a lot of games in the latter half of the season where the blitz is there and he's trusting the O-line to contain the blitz, and I think he needs to see that if the blitz is coming, I don't have time, So I'm not going to go through my progression now. I need to save the play, get a few yards, and then come back, right? As opposed to taking a sack, because once he takes a sack, he's another 7-8 yards deeper, right?
Yeah. Like when he decided to start rolling around using his feet, pockets pretty much like Arthur says, already collapsed on top of him, and he's got really nowhere to go. But yeah, no, I agree 100% with Arthur that it's the O-line has to win that battle in the trenches and give him more than 3 seconds every time. But do you think Vernon's leg is ready to go, that he can be the mobile Vernon Adams this game?
He's got
because that's the other thing I was going to throw into this one.
He's got a week. I guess we didn't go to their practices, so we don't really know.
Did you guys see him crank up that siren at the Canucks game?
What? He was at the Canucks game?
Yeah, did you guys see him? The third period, and then he goes like this on his throwing shoulder. He's like, and I'm like, why are you doing that? Now, those things aren't that easy. I mean, I don't know if it's fun, but I'm like, shouldn't that be the last thing you're doing with your throwing shoulder? But anyway, I'm just throwing that out as a tangent. But no, back to that. Yeah, I mean, again, if we can, if you've got a running game, then you start to draw them up, you go over the top. Well, if you've got a short passing game, hopefully you can draw them up and beat them deep and then keep them guessing. But then again, if they figure it out and we don't have a running game, but is that all going to come down to the O-line? Because that was I was tossing between short passing game and then the O-line. Absolutely. I don't think dominates what we need the O-line to do, but win the majority of their battles.
I'm willing to take a saw off right now.
A saw off. Okay.
Honestly.
Yeah.
If it's a saw off, then I think BC has a good chance to win. Because like on both sides of the line of scrimmage, if it's just 50-50, then BC has a chance.
Then the talent elsewhere should be more than the 50. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah.
But my hesitancy here is that if they haven't been able to, even just match the opponent the last few games, how is this game going to be different? Right? They know what they it's not like they didn't know what they needed to do, right? Like all these last few games, they knew what they needed to do. They just haven't been able to execute for whatever reason. So I'm not sure how to fix that. That's my other worry, right? My first worry is that we can't have a running game. The second worry is that, in spite of knowing what they need to do, that the O-line can't execute. The only thing I can think of there is that the short quick passes to get the ball out before they get to you. And if you know that you wanna, if Vern knows he needs a bit more time, then he needs to roll out even before the pocket collapses.
So have some design rollouts in that game plan.
Yeah, just so he knows he needs more time. So I'm gonna buy my time now. I'm not gonna wait until the pocket starts collapsing and then try to buy my time then. I'm gonna buy my time now and then execute the play. That's what I'm thinking.
Because if he starts to scramble, then in an indirect way, that's kind of like a running game, tiring out the Calgary D-line. They have to chase him now. That's me being super optimistic.
Yeah, or if he needs, if the play is for him to go down to Rhymes and he needs like 5 seconds, then by running out, he's going to buy those 5 seconds to get Rhymes in position, and then he throws the ball, right? So basically, I'm scheming against the O-line not doing their job. Right?
So scheming to protect, as Arthur said, to stop the run game, we got to also protect our back end. You're saying to maintain a good, sustained offensive drive, we have to scheme to protect our front end, so to speak, or cover up the weaknesses of the front end. Well, I've been up into the wee hours of the night for the last 2 weeks because it's playoff time now, and I keep having this same recurring dream that in the back of Jordan McSimick's office and in the back of RP's office are these Rubbermaid bins that have all of these plays that they've not done all year but know them inside and out because they went over them at training camp, they practiced them, but they've not used them because they're going to uncork them in the Western semifinal, and Calgary will not know what hit them because nobody's seen these plays before. Who's with me?
I mean, if they can execute that would be wonderful.
Yeah, you got to execute it. It's one thing to have the play, one thing to execute it.
Okay, I was up wee hours just dreaming about these other plays. Execution, that's another one. But no, I think your guys' keys are bang on. That they have to know what they need to do. They have to have already looked in the mirror and done the soul search, the gut check, the man card reissuing into the wallet after what Winnipeg did. I mean, yeah, they played Winnipeg tough, but Winnipeg just had that extra little X factor that hung around, and they won it in overtime because they were able to rise to another level. Or what other metaphor? They had that one more gear. And the Lions, they need that gear because I don't think Calgary's going to outthink themselves, outcoach themselves, whatever phrase Arthur used earlier in the podcast.
Yeah.
I don't think Dickinson's going to second guess. I don't think we're going to have an Antonio Pipkin drop back and launch a touchdown on 3rd down and 2. That's something we also haven't touched on. Is the short yardage game yet? Do we have time in the broadcast to touch on that?
I think that one is easy. just
I'm not going to say it.
Use Evans.
Yeah, just use Evans.
Use Evans.
Yeah.
I think I don't. Yeah, that's what I would do.
Because Evans, he's not fast, but if all he has to do is get forward, or is Evans, you have enough confidence Evans, he can slide down and get around the corner if need be, versus everybody thinking he's just going to dive, follow center.
Yeah, I think he can. Yeah.
Is he fleet of foot enough?
I mean, yeah, he's not going to be like Crew Cop or, but I think he's better than Dominic Davis at this point.
Yeah.
Do you think Dominic Davis's confidence on short yardage is absolutely gone now?
Yeah, I think
because he used to be very good at it.
I think his days in the league might be numbered now too.
Yeah, something must have happened. I don't know.
Yeah.
Something,
It's tough. Yeah.
Something's confidence or something. But it's very unfortunate. But now it's playoff time. You gotta perform, right?
Yeah.
A lot of jobs are hanging in the balance, right? So
Yeah,
this is supposed to be a progression year. Like I always thought this is kind of let's make some progression this year. I don't think they're thinking that they're gonna be Grey Cup contenders, and they're the 3rd best team in the league. Maybe the good start. Maybe thought, okay, well, maybe we're already at or above Winnipeg, but that's been. I mean, they're there.
Confirmed.
Hey, they could have easily won 3 weeks ago.
Yes.
Yep.
And they would be hosting the Western Final.
Yeah.
Very easily. How many different ways they could have won that game, right?
Exactly.
We talked about it
Ad nauseum.
Ad nauseum.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they could have easily been hosting Western Final and not having to play this game.
Yeah.
And yeah. But anyways,
Question.
I mean, they're right there. Mm-hmm.
Mathematically, okay, had they won that game, and I'm not playing super high, but had they beat Winnipeg in that last game, they're up 1 game. But then had they lost the Calgary game and Winnipeg, I mean, how would that? I'm not math-wise. Could they have still lost the Calgary game, and we would have needed Winnipeg to lose 1 or 2, right?
They need. Okay, the Lions needed to win both and Winnipeg to lose 1 or both, right?
Okay.
So, I mean, it's hindsight, right? I mean, also as the Lions played 2 games before Winnipeg played not even one of the 2 games. So it was kind of Winnipeg kind of relaxed, and they still won their games, right?
Yep. Convincingly, the first one.
Yeah, I mean, again, the last game against Calgary, I don't know how much they were really putting forth. Everything was kind of decided, right? So it's kind of.
But had we won
it's hard to say.
Game against Winnipeg, then okay, I'm just curious.
It's hard to say. I mean, yeah.
So, another question: what's happening with Tuhema? There's word this week that he's gonna
appeal.
Yeah, and if so, he's gonna be in the game. Like, is that what I understood?
So Farhan indicated he heard that he was going to appeal, but then today he wasn't part of the defensive scrimmages. So okay, so if they appeal, they just push it out 1 week, right?
So then that's the Western Final, should they get that far.
And if you push it out, I mean, I don't know if you appeal, how long can you can you like hold it up in courts until after the Grey Cup? I mean, like,
appeal the appeal.
I mean, like, oh, it's going to go back to get an arbiter, and then blah 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 blah, and then you extend it past the Grey Cup.
Just one appeal, I'm assuming.
But you have to kind of like avoid 3 weeks. So if you have aspirations to get into the Grey Cup, you need Tehama against Toronto potentially. You need Tehama against Winnipeg.
Yeah.
You kind of need him against Calgary, but I mean, out of these 3 teams, come on.
Yeah.
Who's the weakest team?
Yeah.
And I mean, heck, we didn't have him for a good chunk of the game against Calgary anyway. So,
yeah.
So you think it's better not to appeal? Let him take the game now, and then have him come back for Winnipeg. You think that's a better call?
Then he's got one more week of fresh legs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you got to take, if you got, I mean, okay. Unless you can win the appeal.
Yeah.
Then you, of course, you play him in Calgary, and then you don't have to worry. He's going to play all 3 weeks. Like if everything works out well. This is hard. I just don't know enough about that whole process.
Yeah.
How quickly, do suspensions in a CFL really stand up?
Well, let me take this opportunity to throw it out there to the Leo Legion. If anybody knows how the appeal process, suspension process works, and can help us out, please voice it up on any one of our platforms here, Instagram, X, Twitter, whatever it is. Let us know. We'd like to hear from you.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. You guys want to look at the play that I have queued up?
Of course.
Okay. So let me.
Can't be from the last 2 weeks if it's a good one.
All right. So let me get this queued up here. All right. So this was the Montreal Hamilton game.
Oh.
So this was the 3rd time we've seen this season.
2nd and 20. Let's set this up, Roland.
Yes.
It's 2nd and 20.
Second and 20. 2nd and 20. They do a short pass to number 17 behind the line of scrimmage. He punts the ball over the line of scrimmage and then recovers it because he's onside. Yeah, the blue line might not be accurate, but
that's twice Montreal's pulled that off.
Yeah, twice Montreal's pulled that off. The first time we saw it, I think it wasn't it? Who was it? It was
Antwi, with their running back,
BC,
number 20.
So they did it successfully a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
They tried again against BC a while ago, and we're like, what?
Yeah.
Did he like fumble or what are they doing? Right?
Yes.
Exactly.
So this is the 3rd time they did, and the last 2 times have been successful.
Yeah. So
because the first time we saw it was Ottawa, because I forgot they did it against us when they came here.
Yeah. So
was it Ottawa? Yeah. I knew it was Ottawa.
So this play's blowing up on Twitter. We've got 2 camps. Some people say, great play. Other people say, hate it, right? So I'm gonna get your opinion on that first, and then also, okay. Let's go with that first. So thoughts. Let's go with Greg first. What do you think of this unique CFL quirk, where you can punt the ball? And as long as you punt it over the line of scrimmage, it's a loss of possession. So then
because you handed it over.
Yeah. So anyone can recover, and then he recovers because he's onside. The punter is always onside.
Well, I'm gonna have to be a Canadian politician here and sit right on the fence. I love me the CFL. The CFL is always going to hold the majority of my heart, because it's our game. We took the game, showed it to the US, in my opinion. They blew it up with their marketing. But I love the CFL game. I love its quirks. I love that it's harder to get 3 downs, get 10 yards. I mean, I love all of it. But there are certain quirks that, I'm not too fond of. Like, okay, missing a field goal and you get a point. Where on earth do you get rewarded for missing other than the CFL? Now,
let's talk about that one for a different episode, because that's
but I'm just saying the quirks. This quirk to me this one can go out, throw the baby out with the bathwater. This quirk, I'm not for it. I'm not for it at all. I'm all for the game and its quirks, but not this one. So I'm taking, I don't know if you want to call it fence sitting, get rid of this onside punt thing. Yes, it's uniquely Canadian, but it doesn't build up the uniqueness in a positive light. So I'm not in the onside punt camp for the offense. Sorry.
All right. Okay, great. Thanks, Greg. Let's go with...
Was that a politician sitting on the fence answer? I'm thinking you want it gone.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I supported the CFL.
He said it
yes,
in a
I
very
support quirks, but
diplomatic
no,
way.
not that one. Not that one.
Okay, all right. So I know.
All right. So next we go with Arthur. Arthur's probably not going to be diplomatic about it. Okay, go ahead.
I'm not gonna be diplomatic. It's a Mickey Mouse. It's just Mickey Mouse. Makes the league look bad. 2nd and 20. 2nd and 20. Okay, I understand, right? Yeah, it's onside kick. You kick it behind the line of scrimmage and whatnot. But it's 2nd and 20. You should make 20 yards for that first down. You should make 20 yards for that first down. What happens if it's 2nd and 50?
I kick it an inch and a half.
You're going to kick it an inch and then you're going to get a first down? It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. People are going to think this league is Mickey Mouse. Because they're like, what the heck? To me, it's like, be a man and get 20 yards to make that first down. And if you're going to stick that out, everyone can do it. Yeah, everyone can do it. Why not? But football is about earning yards. And if you want to cheap out and play a little watch what I say. A little game on the side just to catch you off guard. It's a man's game. It's a bunch of bullies out there. And you play this little twiddlywinks game on the side. Oh, I'm gonna punt it six inches, and I go, it's good play. I'm like, hey man, be a man. If you're that good, get 20 yards on us, right? If you're that good, get 20 yards on us. If you're that good, you know what? You take a penalty, fine, right? Obviously, it was like a holding penalty, and that's why they're 2nd and 20. I don't know,
Yeah.
but this is absolutely ridiculous. Any NFL fan that I know will look at it and think this is just trash.
No. You don't have to say NFL fan. You can say any football fan. Purely
Any football fan.
Yes.
And to me, I think it's got to go. It's terrible. Absolutely terrible. Against the fabric of what football is.
All right.
You talk about being a man, Arthur. Can I throw this in real quick? There's that YouTube video circulating around. It's gone viral. It's a trick play. They line up for a punt. It's 3rd and God knows what. 2 guys right behind the center. And the ball comes, and the center is miles behind the line of scrimmage. So it comes back to him, and then he pretends to snap to those guys. Everybody goes downfield. It's basically a fumbleina play, and he takes off and he scores a touchdown. But that's manly. It's a trick play, but it's not a Mickey Mouse 6-inch onside. They said we're going to run this trick play, and they executed it to a T. So that's more manly than the 6-inch one.
They were running
what
for
happened?
the first down. They ran for the first down.
I didn't
right?
catch what happened. The center fumbled the ball?
Well, they call it a fumbleina. The center kind of snaps it, but lets it sit there. And then he sits there. When everybody goes, he picks up the ball and he runs with it. And it was in plain sight. But he
fake snaps it. Fake snaps it. The football stays on the ground.
Okay, but it has to move though, right? The football has to move. You can't just not move it. Otherwise, it's not snapped, right?
No, I think he moves it and it touches the hands of the guy receiving the snap, and then he fumbles it and it sits there and the center just stays over it.
Okay.
But yeah, maybe we can key that up next podcast. But yeah, that's a good play.
All right.
But no, I agree with Arthur 100%. That there are certain quirks that do not build this game in a positive light. That is one of them.
All right. Okay, good. I got your thoughts.
Where's Roland's camp? I'm curious.
So yeah, let me answer that. So I hear you guys. I want to answer this at a different level. So let me start big picture. The CFL is not the NFL. So comparing the NFL to the CFL all the time doesn't make any sense. It is a different game. the kicking game in the CFL is completely different, and I think it's what makes the game more exciting than the NFL. Okay, so we've got a lot more different kicking options, a lot more different ways to score on kicks, and it's all part of the strategy. It's all part of understanding the game. Now, someone who's an NFL fan may not understand it, and so they may say, "Oh, this is weird," or even say this is, Mickey Mouse. But let's hold that thought. Okay, I'm going to show you a couple more plays, and then I'll come back and give you my opinion. All right. So here's another play earlier in the year. So the idea of an onside punt is not the main issue here. So let me show you this play. So this one here, actually it's not earlier this year, it's the previous season. So it was punted and then recovered by Ottawa. So it was
the punter recovered it.
Yeah, 3rd and 3. They lined up as if they were going to go for it.
The guy who's onside is going to recover it.
Yeah. So he kicks the ball here, and when he kicks
that guy there.
He kicks the ball. This guy here is still onside.
Yep.
And he basically runs all the way down. Saskatchewan, maybe not familiar with the rules, or this player not realizing that there was an onside guy, takes his time, thinking, okay, I'm just gonna, take my time, and the Ottawa guy recovers the ball for a touchdown. So that's a good play within the rules, within the bounds of, this is part of our kicking game as the Canadian football. Okay, so that's one play. Let me show you another play. So this is Calgary and Toronto. So Calgary snaps the ball. The quarterback passes downfield to a receiver. The receiver takes a few steps, then punts the ball.
Quick kick.
So again, This is a unique aspect of the Canadian game. This is what makes our game so exciting. You can punt the ball. You can punt the ball from anywhere in the field. And notice when he punted the ball, this guy's onside and this guy's onside. All right. So, and actually, there's another guy who's onside who's off screen right now. And actually, that's the guy who comes screaming down here, number 16. He's trying to get to the ball. He was onside as well. But unfortunately, Toronto number 24 gets to the ball beforehand, and it doesn't work. But again, that's exciting, right? That's part of the game. Okay, I'll show you one more play.
If that had worked, that play has to stay because it's against Toronto.
All right, so one more. This one is actually BC against Hamilton a few years back.
Is that VA trying to punt? Oh, no, it's Hamilton guy. Okay.
So Hamilton punts. We recover the ball and we punt it. So the punt return guy punts the ball, and when he punts it, there's two guys onside, him and him. Okay. And then he motors it down. Look at him go across. He motors it down. The ball bounces in the air, and he catches it on the bounce. And that's legal. Unfortunately, he doesn't make it. Oh, he's about to be tackled. He laterals to another guy, but unfortunately, they don't make it to the end zone. But again, this is part of the excitement of the Canadian game, right? Because you don't see that in the NFL, and I don't want to get rid of these rules. So people who blindly say, this Mickey Mouse, I think there's a bit more nuance here. So what Arthur is against is, it seems like instead of going for 20, you get 6 inches and you get a first down. You get so.
Arthur's saying it's cowardly cheap.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. Those other examples you had, Roland, they kicked it downfield. They didn't kick it 6 inches.
Yeah, that's right.
They kicked it downfield. I respect those plays.
Yes.
Those plays I'm okay with.
Yeah.
The 6-inch one, second and 20, you got to get it over
Yeah.
the first down marker. To get
Kick it over the first down marker. That's great. Have the outside.
Yeah,
cover.
you want to kick it over the first down marker?
All for it.
And I'm good for that. But 6 yards is because it's over the line of scrimmage? Sorry.
Or so
6 inches.
there's two
6
ways.
inches.
There's two ways I think we can address this. One, we keep the rules for when you punt, you lose possession, but in order to recover, it needs to go either past the original first down marker, or it needs to go 10 yards.
The ball has to travel across where the first down would be, or else it's a loss of down.
Or 10 yards. So I'm not sure yet which is better.
It's
So
wherever the first down marker is, the recovery has to happen
or it could,
beyond it.
It could be 10 yards too, right? Like if let's say it's second and 20.
Well, it all depends
And
what
you
it
can-
is, right? If it's if it's second and 10 or second and 20, then you need 20 yards. You need to get to that first down.
Yeah, so that's one way to change the rule. Another way to change the rule is say we don't care where the original first down is, as long as it travels 10 yards from the current line of scrimmage, then you can recover. Because 10 yards, 10 yards by then, the defense should see the ball coming, and they have almost an equal or maybe even a better chance of recovering it.
Well, I mean, I think you
yards.
should be penalized if you're in a second and 20. The defense has gained an advantage, and I think that should be respected. And you should have to earn, like, you shouldn't have to like find a cheap way to get out of it. And we just can kick it 10 yards,
Well,
or
it's
get 20 yards on the ground or in the air.
Yeah, that's the other thing that I want to address too. Is it cheap? The reason we think it's cheap is because nobody's covering it. If the defense knows that this is part of the game, then on a second 20, you're not going to give them 15 yards. You're not going to drop back 15 yards. If you know that this is a possibility, the defense has to cover it. So someone needs to be up against that receiver. In case he tries to do this, you recover before he can even kick it.
Well, of course, you have to game
So-
plan against it.
Yeah, so-
but it's whether you should game plan it.
Yeah.
Against it at all.
That's
the issue.
So that's the other thing, right? So it seems cheap because nobody's covering it. Well, is that the fault of the defensive
No,
coordinators?
it's cheap because you don't need to get a first down to get a change of possession. You're not earning that first down. That's why it's cheap. It's not because no one's covering it. It's because they're not earning a first down.
Well, is that true? Because they're actually giving up possession of the ball. So if the defense were covering this play and they gave up possession of the ball, you're actually saying, I'm giving the defense a chance to now take possession. Right? So
It's a loophole giving
it's-
up of possession for 6 inches.
It's a risk.
Sure, I mean, yeah, you could
it's a
say
risk
it.
reward, right? Risk
You're not going
reward.
to give up possession, drop it from this hand to this hand. Here,
Yeah.
you got to
Yeah,
get it in
there you
between
go.
here.
Yeah.
So risk
I
reward,
mean-
right? So they're taking a risk and saying, okay, I'm basically leaving the ball here. Anyone can take it. Well, it's not my fault that you're like 15 yards away. But now if the defense is scheming against this, then the defense will be right there. You try to give up the ball, fine, I'm going to take it. So
Well, yeah, I mean, of course, the debate is, they have to game plan against it. Whether they should or not, that's the question. Right? I agree. I mean, your point is, it's cheap because they're not covering it. Well, we're not talking about whether obviously people aren't covering it because whether they don't know about it, they don't game plan against it.
yeah, they don't. Yeah.
My point is whether I think it's cheap because just the premise of it is hokey. So whether they should have it in the first place, obviously, yeah. If you game plan against, they're going to have to because it's still a rule.
Yeah.
Of course, they have to game plan
Yeah.
against it.
So you just want to get rid of the rule, right, Arthur?
I don't want to get rid of the rule. I think it's Mickey Mouse. It makes the league look bad.
So that's what we started. So there's 3 ways we can go about this, or two, and then the second one has different options. One is we keep the rule, but defense has to scheme against it. You cannot leave the guy open like that. So
That's status quo right now.
well, the status quo right now is defenses are still ignoring it. So now that Montreal's done it 3 times this year, maybe defenses will no longer be ignoring it. I can guarantee you.
I don't think they have to at least coach it up, right?
Yeah.
So it's going to be in everyone's back of their mind.
When Montreal plays Hamilton next week,
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
sure Hamilton is going to be covering that. So if defenses start covering this, then is it still a hokey play? That's one question.
Still hokey. Still hokey.
Second thing is, if we say, okay, this rule was not intended to be used this way, then the only way to amend the rule, because I want to keep our kicking rules. Our kicking game, I think, is one of the unique things and exciting things about the CFL. I don't want to get rid of the kicking game in the CFL. So there's one or two ways to amend the rule. One is the punt has to go over the original first down line, or it has to go 10 yards from the current line of scrimmage.
Like an onside kick, at least a minimum onside kick yardage.
Like there's a minute, just like when you do a kickoff, an onside kick.
Yeah.
For a kickoff.
Minimum 10 yards.
But a kickoff is always quote unquote first down, so it's always 10. It's like, yeah. Anyways.
Yeah. So basically, if the rules, if we change the rule to that, then basically the defense needs to understand that they have to scheme against something, whether it's just across the line of scrimmage or whether it's 10 yards. But I think the fault here is not against Montreal introducing a cheap play. I think the fault here is that Hamilton doesn't scheme for it against this.
The fault is the CFL having this in the rule books and just should get rid of it. I mean, they can't do it mid-year.
Yeah.
They can't do it mid-year.
Got to be voted on, right, by the board.
It's got to be voted on. It's got to be done in the off season, right?
Yeah.
You can't make a change like that mid-year. So they'll hopefully address it in the off season.
But I'd be interested to see, has anyone ever done this in previous years? Because that rule has always been there. It's not like the rule was introduced, right? This rule has always been there. So, kudos to Montreal for going through the rule book and figuring out, hey, we can do this, if no one else has done it before. And if someone else has already done this before, then the CFL has already made a decision to keep this in the rule book, right?
Yeah, well,
so
I'm sure there's enough discussion about it. If it's not, it has to be addressed in the off season. At least they have to have a discussion about it.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens.
They move the hash marks, they move the kickoffs, they move the extra point. You never know.
You never know.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay to change the rules. Yeah.
Yeah. As long as I do not see kickoff sailing through the end zone to start a game and just automatically starting and some guy going fair again, as long as that doesn't come into our game, I'm good.
Yeah.
There's too much kicking. There's too much kicking in the CFL game, in my opinion.
Because it's based on the game of rugby.
Yeah, that's our roots.
Too much kicking.
That's our roots.
Come on.
I love.
I want tackles. I want plays. Not like passing and running plays. Too much kicking.
Kicks are good.
Maybe if we had like Gizmo Williams in his prime, then I wouldn't mind the kicking game so much. Right,
oh,
Greg?
but we've got Terry Williams.
We got Terry Williams. So there you go, right, Greg? So maybe we had Gizmo. I would love the kicking game, but you know what? We don't have Gizmo. So
nobody's got a Gizmo anymore. So now we don't have a passion corner. We don't have any poop points or prop points to give out. But I do believe we got to address the idea of passion on behalf of Mr. Doman. I just want to throw it out there, guys, that we need to make sure fans pack that place. I don't know how popular it's going to be after those couple weeks, but we need to have some passion in that dome this weekend. And I don't know, are we going to do a prediction? What do you guys want to think? What do you think? Should we do a prediction?
On the crowd?
No, prediction on the outcome of the Western Semi, and dare I say, should we want to go predict the Eastern Semi?
Eastern Semi.
Didn't we predict last week? You changed your mind, Greg?
We did predict last week, yeah.
Did you change your mind already?
A week has gone by. There's been injuries.
All right.
But we didn't predict the Eastern final, did we?
No. Let's go through that. All right, Greg. What do you think? What's your prediction for Saturday, BC in Calgary?
I'm staying with BC winning. I think I predicted. Did I predict
7?
Was it 5? Was it 7? No, I didn't think that'd be a touchdown. I think I was 5.
Was it okay?
can't remember my prediction.
I said BC by 3. I'm revising my.
Yeah, I think we went 3-5-7 or 3-5-8 or something.
Someone
like
had 7. I had 3, but I'm revising it.
Okay.
It's a pick'em. Right now, it's a pick'em.
Because they're not playing Lucky Whitehead. Attaboy, Arthur. If Lucky Whitehead was in the lineup, done deal.
I think Tehama is outperforming Betts in the last half of the year on like just getting pressures and being impactful.
I think because Betts is being choke held every single time he comes through that line. But hey, sorry.
I'm just talking about stats or just print.
Of course.
Like I noticed Tehama more obviously. Well, apart from the issue last game.
Yeah.
So I think it's a big loss. If they're gonna bring Mazel in, like, I don't know. I'm with Roland. I'm not. I'm not. I don't know how big of a fan I am with that move. And yeah, I understand potentially they want McInnes in their receiver packages.
Yeah.
Well, could that be because somebody popped his shoulder out last week?
Could very well be.
Yeah.
We don't know.
His arm was still hanging when he put him back in the game because they didn't want to put Hatcher in.
He went back into the game though.
Yeah, because they didn't have anybody else.
They didn't have anyone else.
Because was Ryan? McKinnon's not in for Hatcher.
Yeah.
But
and they weren't going to risk his hamstring.
They don't have anyone else. They could have brought in Williams. And then they did. Right? I mean.
Yeah. True.
Right? I mean, there's got to be like another Canadian receiver that's on special teams that they could have brought in, right?
No, because I think who is that Canadian receiver we have? I mean, he's up and down.
Anyways, LaFrance, right? Was he on roster?
LaFrance was already on the roster.
So he could have went. They could have went big. They could have put Mackey. They put packages with Mackey, have a heavier package, right? They weren't showing Calgary anything anyways. They were going so vanilla on both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
I don't think they didn't need to march him out there.
Well, like you said, we don't know that we're not in the locker room.
We don't know. But I'm revising my pick to a pick'em.
You gotta. That's being on the fence.
Well, you want a prediction one way or the other? Okay.
I mean, how popular is this decision going to be?
It can't end as a tie, right? You think it's going to go into overtime?
Yeah, no sports bet on predictions here. We're going with the 3-down bro prediction.
BC by 1.
By 1.
And you know how it's going to happen, Roland? They're going to get a rouge on a unique CFL kicking quirk.
Okay.
Just for Arthur.
That's right. And I'll be saying
Arthur will say that's a Mickey Mouse play.
It's in the rule.
It is.
Who am I to argue if it's something against the rule?
Maybe if BC gets 3rd and long, they might try an onside punt.
Yeah. I mean,
it's Rick Campbell you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's Rick Campbell you're talking about.
Actually, that Ottawa play I showed you where they recovered the ball in the end zone? That was Rick Campbell's team.
The Ottawa team?
Maybe.
Yeah, that Ottawa clip
that I showed you. Vernon Adams try that punt?
Yeah, Vernon Adams tried to punt and he shanked
it. In the game, remember? He was he lined up and he kicked it downfield. It was on 2nd down.
Was that during the soul-sucking Hamilton loss here?
I can't remember. It was one of those games in the middle where things weren't going so good.
Yep.
I don't remember that.
I remember him trying to punt.
All right. Since we're talking a lot about the kicking game, this is probably going to come back.
Yeah.
All right.
So
Roland.
1 point. Did I predict 7 last week? I think it must have been.
I think we went 3-5-7. I'm again, if our viewers can let us know what it was, but. Yeah. I know I predicted a win. Arthur, I think we all 3 predicted a win.
I hear what Arthur's saying with Tehama. That's if he's not in the game, it is a big loss. But I think the rest of the D line is gonna step it up. I think the whole team is gonna step it up for this week. I think the loss to Calgary 2 weeks ago was a really bad taste in their mouth. So I think they're going to step it up, and I think they've hunkered down the last 2 weeks. They've healed up. they've rested, and more importantly, they've thought through all the plays. They've thought through all the mistakes that they've made, and they know
That's
what they
been
need
a lot
to do.
lately.
Yeah, and so I think that's gonna more than make up for Tuhama's absence. So I'm not too worried about Tuhama. I'm worried about our running play Mizell. What I'm hoping is that Hardy will be dressed, and if Mizell doesn't, show any signs of brilliance, that it's going to be a short leash.
I was going to say you want short leash, okay?
Yeah, and Hardy will be in there, because that's what I'm hoping there. Because I think that potentially could kill us, right?
If you dress a second American running back, and Lucky's out of the roster.
That will be the second play. Did he miss the Western final last year or the Western semi?
I think he missed the Western semi and then the Western final.
So our other running backs, LaFrance and Mackey, they're Canadian?
Mackey, both Canadian.
Okay. Yeah,
You have to take an American out. You have to take an American out of the lineup. You want to take it out of that run defense, Roland?
No, we need.
You got to take it out of that receiving core.
Yeah.
That's where you have depth.
Yeah.
Because somehow we've got to figure out a way to beat the sixth offensive lineman on the opposition.
Yeah.
And we have got to figure out a way to stop the stunt and the late guy coming in. Because whatever Toronto did,
protection.
everybody copied that Toronto template. And our O-line started, like Arthur said, starting after that O-line just gradually chip in the wrong direction.
I mean,
I don't know if the O-line can make a 180-degree turn, but
even there, Hardy's pass protection to me is better than Mizell's, right?
Yeah, I agree with 100%.
If it's the cost of Lucky not being in the game, I mean, McInnes is clutch too. So having McInnes in the game without Lucky is actually not a drop off.
Who's stretching the field? It's only Holland's then?
because those Rhymes and Hatcher are not that fast. And if you're only getting 3 seconds,
Toy. Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, it won't be McInnes or Katoy, so it's got to be someone, right?
Yeah, I'm just saying, if you're only getting 3 seconds to get that ball to a deeper guy, we're gonna need.
Yeah.
No offense to the boys that are running downfield, but they're not blinding speed. They're not 4.2, 4.3 guys.
Yeah, no, we can't go downfield on 3 seconds. So I think if the play is to go downfield, deep, then Adams needs to buy time with his legs. If he's not buying time, then we gotta take the shorter passes.
All right.
And I think all these players need to take their blocking up a notch too, not just the O-line. The receivers on those hitch screens, on those bubbles, they gotta block more aggressively and hang on to the block longer than a second and a half.
Yeah.
If we have any hope of running the ball.
Yep. All right.
So we're gonna find out.
Lots
about
of thoughts and predictions. Going to be an exciting game. We've got some friends coming to watch the game too, and I sure hope BC lives up to their capabilities. They're more than capable to win over Calgary.
Absolutely.
So if they just live up to their capabilities, we should win.
So Leo's Legion, like Mr. Dome and asked, bring the noise. Saturday, November the 4th, to the Dome. Wear orange, wear black, wear whatever. Just don't wear red. Show up and cheer. We got to get this. This team needs everybody.
Yeah. And,
we'll be there.
Yes. Let us know what you think. Hit us up on the comments and like and subscribe. We're getting closer to the 100 subscriber mark. We're at 57 now, so I appreciate all you who have subscribed. Tell your friends, ask them to subscribe. We want to hit the 100 subscriber mark so we can start live streaming on YouTube.
We just need one Hatcher and one VA. We're there. Come on out, Leo's Legion. Help us out.
12 and 16 versus a 6 and 12 team. What could go wrong, right, guys?
Well, let me think now. A a 12-5 team versus a 5-12 team, everything went wrong. But then again, mixed messages. We don't know what was going on in that locker room. They better have a crystal clear focus this time.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you after the game.
Go Lions.
Have a good one.
All right.
Go Lions.
Okay. See you. Bye-bye.